Frank, today. And today we're going to do a different format, right? We don't have a PowerPoint, we don't have a movie. What we want to have is a dialogue because that's the human way to go. So I know Frank quite well. Actually, we've been colleagues. We've worked together doing implementations in real life businesses for a number of years. And so what I would like is kind of trace back the chronology of the interventions that he did, and we're going to bring a bunch of topics in sort of conversation format. If you guys want to step in, you can raise your hand, you can interject, and the idea is to have this open-minded discussion about VR, its possibilities, where it came from, where it's going, and how it can help us with our team, which is personal development today. So I would like to start by telling you guys that Frank is actually a pioneer of remote health services. Not only a pioneer, but an award-winning pioneer. He's been decorated by the state for his work because he was the first in Canada probably to offer remote psychology services. So could you tell us a little bit about that, maybe, Frank? I think that's a very important part of your persona.
Well, that's when I've met you, dear Zenkel, and we're back in 2006, where I was called by Veterans Affairs Canada, asking me as a psychologist if it would be possible to treat veterans, veterans that do not want to show their boss that they have a weakness. As you know, if you're a soldier and you get post-traumatic syndrome, you don't want to appear into a psychologist's office, which is right in front of your boss, telling your boss that you're suffering from being a warrior. That's your job, to be a warrior, and you should not suffer. I had the privilege to meet in person and get the recognition of General Romeo Dallaire. At that time, he was working for the United Nations, and he is Romeo Dallaire. He is in Canada, in my book, a hero, convincing Veterans Affairs Canada that post-traumatic stress syndrome was not something light. It's a real disease, because you cannot do war without coming back with having disease, with having scarves on your chest, on your back.
So how would the remote technology specifically help with a condition like PTSD or people who had been to war?
Well, at that time, the Quebec's order of psychologists did not allow us to practice by phone. We had to see face to face the client we were helping. So back then there was no technology, so I had to put together a server, a flash media server, and we went on trying to have a little screen to see each other. So I had to convince the Quebec's order of psychologists to be able to treat post-traumatic stress disorder with remote technology. The platform we started building in 2006 showed a short video of every professional. I had, like you guys, pioneers at that time, 25 psychologists that had a short video of presentation of their style, their practice, their ways of helping people, and we were in operation up to 2009. And unfortunately, the conservative at that time felt like psychology was not part of telehealth, and I did not receive my R&D credit research and development credit that I was supposed to get back were not given to me. And even if Zenkel tried to help me rescue the company at the last minute, I had to shut it down. But we had clients that discover telepsychology, telehealth, like Montreal Autism Center, that was able to treat autistic kids up to Australia. And we had the first prize in Quebec for general public technology development. But at the end of the day, as a pioneer, I had to shut it down.
Right, so I remember that period well, and just one thing that I would like to point out is when you're talking medicine or psychology like this, you have to comply with an incredible amount of norm. You have to be compliant with different policies. You have to follow certain protocols for communication, for confidentiality, for privacy, and there are also many establishments like the pharmaceuticals, the doctors, or the orders like the psychologist orders, and it changes the way that they are doing things, and so they are not super eager to kind of vote for it. And ever since I've started in VR, and I've done quite a few human initiatives myself, I've had people around me saying, "Oh wow, it's awesome! Can you imagine the implications for health?" And there are many. But even though Francois probably had one of the best ideas in the world back then, it was very, very difficult and very costly to make that happen. You had to go and get certificates. We're talking hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars that were invested just to make the system compliant. And it was basically a Skype video conference experience, right? So what he was describing is that you could go on the website and shop for your health professional. You could shop for your psychologist looking at their presentation, and then you would simply connect and they would give you a session online. Another thing that I remember was super cool because you mentioned the Center for Autism, is that there are certain disorders where people don't like to get outside anymore. Sometimes it's social anxiety. Sometimes, for example, people with PTSD from the Vietnam War, they would go away from the cities and live in the woods or something because they were constantly triggered by the sounds and the movements of the people around them, so they preferred isolation. So for these people, remote intervention is pretty much ideal because you don't have to expose them to their phobia to get a dialogue going. So when I met François, this is really what had impressed me. Like, oh my, you can actually treat people without going there. You might actually save somebody from suicide, or you might stop a crisis in a family because you were able to basically connect on Skype very fast and stop the thing. So I thought that was pretty awesome, and although it didn't bloom to the fullest of its potential, François received an award from the state for that work, and that kind of thing set the tone for the rest of his career. Because what happened after that, François? Where did what was your next occupation?
Yeah, the following step is that Zenkel gave me a phone call, and Zenkel was in Beauce doing central system implementation. And he did convince a very nice company called Metal Sartigan to take me over as their HR change management professional. And Zenkel and I did the ERP, which is not erotic at all. It is essential. It is a essential system.
It's quite the opposite.
Yeah, it's quite dry. It's not erotic at all.
But yes, we did ERP together.
Disclaimer.
Oh my gosh. Jesus. Enterprise resource planning, guys. Okay.
That's not what you think.
I can't believe this then. Oh my gosh.
And the beauty of it is that in the core of this implementation, which takes a lot of energy, to get people to work together. When you ask the entire company to work with the same database and to create the client with the same address, the same phone number, the same protocols, you end up with forcing collaboration. And the winning value here, of course, technical skills are very important, but the shared values, if like you guys, you have a common vision of the future and you are building this vision right now, and you are so charming because you believe that it is possible. At the end of the day, is Michael crying? No,
No, I think he's
No.
crashing, but I'm now going to act in his stead real quick while he's
yeah,
fixing
okay.
himself. So hang on.
Okay.
Oh, nope.
So-
All right, I didn't have to do that
so-
very long. He's good.
I
That's good.
I thought he was crying. Poor Michael, you're back.
No.
Okay. So
Oh, he's
so
crying.
at the
He's
end of
filled
the
with so
day-
much emotion and passion.
at the end of the day, implementing essential system is a lot of shared passions, shared collaboration, and shared protocols. And at this point in time, all the big vendors, the big vendors, if you know the name SAP, they are selling for 90 billion, not million, but $1 billion a year of ERP systems, and we still are living 70% of failure rate. So we're throwing away 30 billion a year because we don't have the skills. And we don't have the technical skills, the organizational skills, or the common vision, the shared values to do so. So, because of in my studies in 1980, I had the privilege to work for Canadian Aviation Electronics. Canadian Aviation Electronics are building flight simulators for plane pilots. I said to myself, before dying, I will put together a ERP implementation simulator, which is now on the market.
Which
And
is
this is
awesome and delicious.
you know, which is a collective erotic central system. No.
No.
Oh my gosh! Dang it!
It is
You can't stop
simply
thinking about it.
essential database. Essential database with common protocols for everyone to work together and get solid business. At the end of the day, I'm saying yes from telehealth to a skills simulator. I'm back into something where we need you guys. The next generation of this skills simulator I've put together is your platform, because we want to allow people to test their skills the same way plane pilot will have his logbook filled with flight simulator hours. As you know, for Air Canada pilot, 1 hour of flight in a flight simulator is the same than 1 hour of real plane flying. So that's when
All right,
you were
I
mentioning.
feel we're skipping a chapter there, François. So,
Okay.
what I feel you were demonstrating is that you basically are a techno psychologist type of guy, right? You were into remote health, and then you jumped into those large scale implementations with me, and then you worked with simulators, flight simulators, and stuff like that. So the part that I feel we had jumped is that those implementations fail, yes, but the reason why they fail, you explained to me, is that teams don't necessarily have all the skill set that is required, right? So seriously, a real ERP system would require that everybody knows about every department and quite deeply. You need to know the best practices for sales. You need to know the best practices for manufacturing, for management, for accounting. So it's not like knowledge that one person can possess easily, and it's the same for a team. They need to be oftentimes upgraded. Sometimes you need to hire people from the outside and everything. But here's the catch, and that's where I think the simulator part is very interesting, is that if I ask you to know, well, do you know accounting? And on paper it says, yes, he knows accounting. He passed the exam. He has a degree in accounting. And I ask you, do you know manufacturing? And same thing, you have the technical knowledge. Well, that doesn't mean that because you know it academically or that because you have the technical skill, that you can actually do it in real life. There is an extra component of the house being on fire, of five things being asked of you at the same time, of operations going on as you are doing the systems implementation. So just because you have the technical skill doesn't mean that you are able to do it. And that's where a simulation come handy. I was told by these guys that basically just asking you 3 plus 3 and you give me 6 is not enough. I have to sort of stress you out or make you imagine, like, in this circumstance, how would 3 plus 3 give? And then your answer might vary. And that's what they do on paper, the psychologists, with the situations. They say, for example, it's 9 o'clock, the alarm clock is buzzing, you've had a shitty night, you didn't get to have your coffee this morning, you arrive at work, a customer is calling you, he's angry. How will you react? This is the situation that they used to use on paper, so that you would sort of try to forecast your actual real life reaction to stress, under stress, right? But that's where I think the simulator, how would the simulator make that better actually compared to paper testing?
Well, you're right. Assessment center, individual assessment center were used in the 70s, even in the Second World War, to assess on paper your capacity to take the right decision, assign the right people, and do the right call. Uh, um, the science of assessing complex skills is based on something very simple, which we call critical incidents. A critical incident is something that is not happening very often, that you will see once or twice in your career, but can put in jeopardy your life, the life of your colleagues, and the life of your company. So you want to be able to have the platform, the technology, to put that situation, that critical incident, as a trial, as a plane that goes extremely fast that you need to correct right away. So the simulation part is maybe 5 on 10 on paper, but goes 10 on 10 with technology that you guys are putting together. So it is now possible with the creativity and with your ingenuity that we have tools to imagine worst case scenario, like if you're flying a plane and you get 2 engines going off at the same time, that would automatically be a crash in real time. But that with a flight simulator, like a skills simulator, you can make that possible from one person at a time. And what is exciting and what is reaching Zenkel in the meditation science, I would call, you need to ask a group of people to think in the same direction with the same shared values and really use collaboration instead of competition to win. This seems very simple to say, but it's tricky to put together. So when Michael and I were working together, this is all about assessing people working in a collaboration spirit, which is at the end of the day the most difficult thing to assess. I'm I'm happy to tell you that the actual version of the ERP allows us to measure the level of technical complementarity and the collaboration level, what we call the shared values, with a team of 4 people that are generally implementing a complex 4.0 system. So that this is how
I
we
think we had a
switch
question
from
or a remark
He
from
answered it while
Leo.
he
Yep.
was continuing. Don't worry about it. That's why I put my hand down.
Okay.
He answered it while he continued.
Okay. All right.
well the common denominator here, at the time that Michael was implementing ERP at Metal Sartigan, he had in mind like a business monk, someone who would show uh, managers and leaders that to have a healthy company, you need to have great values and you need to be in line with meditation practices. So this is how I became a good partner and a good friend with Michael, because what is helping each person at the time can help a small group, can make the difference for the entire company, and can impact the entire village also. So this is the power of the technology you guys are providing to us right now. You can create a collectivity with people around the world, and I'm just amazed by that. And I'm 64 years old, and I see my dreams coming true with this type of technology that you're offering us. Thank you so much.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Question, Bigger?
Well, first off, I think it's a lot of people know that I work in a lot of this virtual collaboration. Like my entire career has basically been virtual collaboration. Everything changed last year, and in that year, I wish I knew about any of these systems that would have tested my ability to do these things, because I got it tested through practice. Thrown to the wolves.
Yeah.
Which I hope in the future, that's not the case, and that we can actually implement more training programs that could help people kind of get these skills in a more like in an environment in VR. Anyways, I love that point about the fact that we can reach out now to on a global scale and collaborate like that in that collaborative sense, as I've already experienced that, as my career has taken me basically without moving from my little town I live in Indiana to Japan. It's taken me to Canada, it's Florida, it's all over the place. So
You make it possible. You make it possible, and at the end of the day, this coronavirus had to force Quebec's Order of Psychologists to use the remote psychology for treatment. So that killer that really touched the entire planet, well, forced some of my healthcare bosses to
The
open up.
paradigms were broken, right?
Yeah, to open up.
Yeah.
And hopefully this open collaboration and this sharing of knowledge will become the our way of living in this small planet. And fortunately, we will develop the tools that makes our lives better, instead of reinventing the wheel like you had to do personally to make this possible. Well, you'll have a simulator, you'll have online tools that will do half of the work, and remove some of the pain of developing. But when you're leading, you always carry the weight of legalities, of new technology, and jealousy. Some people might be jealous of your extraordinary work, and instead of helping you, they'll try to push you around. Well, that's this is the type of mentality we need to change.
They're scared as well sometimes. I've heard countless stories of doctors right now resisting artificial intelligence because artificial intelligence is getting better at diagnosis than most doctors. And so, at least in our system, they are afraid to be replaced by it. And so, instead of embracing it and helping the healthcare to use it, they're basically blocking it, pretexting that they are risks and that it needs to be tested further and everything. While we know that it's already much better. Is there something you want to say, Leolia? Or is
Yeah,
it-
I just kind of had a question in general. I know that for some people who do like going to psychologists and going to doctors for that face-to-face interaction, that coronavirus did remove that for a lot of people. And I guess my general question is how do you think VR and remote care will help reintegrate that face-to-face interaction that was taken away?
Well, VR consulting is always the second best. You always prefer to see face to face your professional, your doctor, your specialist, and most of the time he needs to touch you, he needs to feel you to do the diagnosis and the treatment. It's always the second best in case of emergency, but for a lot of things are happening in case of I would say violence. If you take someone that was beaten up by a gang, and I know one hospital that turned a very touchy video on how we will treat you from one step to the other and one specialist to the other to help you see in advance what will be your treatment, and even with the psychological help you will get after your medical help you will receive, and just to show in advance how you will be treated by the healthcare system is helping the person to know the next step and helping the person to guide herself through healing. So if you're suffering from cancer and I'm presenting to you the right treatment, the good steps you will make through, and we cure your cancer, well, you will have less anxiety vis-a-vis your treatment than if you don't know what's happening to you on a daily basis, which is most of the time you ask people what's the next step in your treatment, and they don't even know. Even for anxiety treatment, we kind of say that's what you're suffering now. I'll give you with exposure to your fears, and with guidance I will pull you through with your support. So if you explain in advance with VR what will happen to you in your treatment, this is putting a lot of good chances of getting better sooner.
If I may take a stab at this as well, based on my experience with the meditation group, is that I've met people who were utterly depressed during the pandemic. And, when you're super depressed, you don't even feel like showering. You don't feel like going out of your bed. So obviously you're not walking around the city looking for a psychologist, but maybe you get a bit of boredom through your depression, and maybe putting a headset on is not that much to ask. You might like to look at the colors for a little while, and so these people, they end up here, and they end up face to face with a non-threatening bunny, or a very sympathetic figure, and I've seen it bridging back into the real world. Basically, people who were disconnected from the real world, they connected to social VR, and then they have learned to relate to humans again. And that is a fantastic thing when you have people that are alienated from the societies for whatever reason, and you see them taking baby steps in VR, and then they're back. I won't name names, but in the Sangha, we had somebody that had seen about 30 doctors. He was institutionalized when he started coming, and he was not able to go out. And after just 2 months of sessions of meditation with us and learning new strategies, learning his emotions, he was back on the street. So this is amazing stuff. This is, and I am not a psychologist. Like, I have notions, right? But I'm not a psychologist like Frank did. So imagine what could real professional and real doctors achieve there. Just before I go to you, Bagel, just wanted to say that my vision for the future of VR, because it's difficult to move all the doctors, my vision for the future of VR in healthcare is sort of a social worker without borders. I think that we can all be somebody's good friend in VR. I think as we open our heart to manage our own emotional states, we can also grow the space and the freedom to maybe welcome somebody else in that peaceful place. And that in that way, I can help somebody that is in Lebanon. I can help somebody that is in Congo. I can help somebody that is in the States or in my backyard. Distance does not exist. And that's very important because a lot of these countries don't have access to any sort of social help. So, we get to be a very soft sort of social workers short term. And that's actually my invitation to you, until this becomes common practice, make it a habit in social VR to make somebody feel good every day. And this alone builds a better world, right?
Well,
Hey, Bagel.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Do you still have
there
your
for your
commentary,
question,
Bagel?
Bagel.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. So first off, I'm going to ask: is it okay that after my question, I can go around the room asking if anyone would like to ask anything?
Sure.
Awesome. And
course.
secondly, I would like to say that everyone in here, I know, and I'm looking at everybody because I know, everyone in here knows one, and I know probably more than one friends that has said that the reason why they got VR to play VR chat to begin with was because they wanted to get over their social anxiety. Raise of hands, how many people have heard that statement from at least one of their friends? That's like, if you're in desktop mode, do a flip. Or something. That's
trying my
literally
best.
every
Jumping.
single person in this room.
Nice.
Okay? There is not a single person in this room, including the person who is accepting invites over there. Right? Thanks, Yui, by the way. Not a single person in this room did not raise their hands. I just want that to set in their heads about everything we just talked about and what that really means, right?
It's
there.
amazing. I was not expecting everyone to raise their hand. Really
I
cool.
was. I knew. So, because that's when VR chat, when I first got in, one of the things I did was I did do a lot of that and a lot of listening and helping out other individuals. I can say that for the health of other people, please admit when you are not a professional for these sorts of things and don't hurt yourself too badly on
Sure.
it, because a good friend will know when to recommend another good friend that that you're not a professional and maybe they need to kind of upgrade on their help. But certainly this is something I know has helped a lot of individuals in ways that they can't possibly describe. So with permission, I'm going to go around the room and I'm going to see who has permission.
But
who
you
is going to want to ask
you
a
are
question.
so
All
right.
right, well,
Be right
You
back.
are so right, Michel. because I'm getting training from Dr. Stéphane Bouchard, which is a Canada Chair of Research in Cyber Psychology. And what you're doing, what you're offering now, is the best treatment for social anxiety, which is called exposure. Exposure in such acute form, like you guys are doing now, is just a piece of genius because you're lovable, it's fun to be with, and if I'm shy, you give me warm the moment you see me, and you're just doing something super for the entire collectivity, which is called exposure with social anxiety. And bravo, bravo.
Oh, thank you, Frank. So I'm going to go around the room and I'm going to see if anyone else has any questions. So, Alex, you have any questions? Or a question that you would like to ask? Anything you can possibly think of? No, not at the moment. Okie dokie. Deathmap, do you have anything that you would like to ask?
It's really hard, mainly because I have one friend that will come. He's also a psychologist down here in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been like really interested in this subject. And he actually will want to kind of like he's trying to search up like where could he like enter to start giving treatment through VR like nowadays, mainly because he already down here in Mexico he gives remote treatment. I tell him about the weird places and stories and roleplay communities of VR, and he's like, man, I wanna more than giving treatment, like first he wants to interview people, like why are they here? Why are we like skeletons or anime girls, even if we are like veterans or like I don't know, freaking government employees and things like that. Like he wants to try to understand this metaverse. He hasn't had the time lately, but uh I don't know what will be kind of like the first step that my friend could do to
You
how do
can
you say
connect
it?
him with me. I'll connect him with Frank.
Yeah.
Done.
Oh,
Yeah. Question answered.
Well, there,
okay.
Nice. Oh, is this
But,
so like?
but honestly,
well,
another thing we could do is we could welcome him to like our meditation classes, and you could have a chat from
That
a
would definitely be a
psychology
good start.
point of view.
Yeah.
We also
Yeah.
have consultorios, amigo. Tenemos consultorios en
Okay.
VR para los profesionales. So that's another thing. If you'd like to kind of welcome people in private space, we can offer that private space as well for interviews. And so yeah, just let me know and we'll help how we can. What would you say, Frank?
Okay.
well, just this little group here allows everyone to break the ice. In social anxiety, there's two factors: breaking the ice. Everyone feels the cold. Everyone is shy a little bit to say hi, to give a smile to someone you don't know. Everyone feels shy a little bit, and that's normal. So a group like you guys, you break the ice, and when this ice is broken, well, then we start talking. Some people will say to me, François, I'm afraid of not being able to follow through what I want to say because I'll be afraid of the team. But with warmth, it's like riding a bicycle. The more you do it, here again, exposure. The more you expose yourself to positive contact, just a smile, just a hello, you will break this ice. And thank God, you're doing it in a beautiful way.
Oh,
Yeah, you
Thank
have the
you.
cream here. That's why I can take you places.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really cool things that exist here, and a lot of very horrifying things too. People have created amazing horror experiences in VR as well, very immersive stuff. So it's kind of cool. You got a little of everything. Chocho, you have anything
I
you
gotta
want to
play
say?
Pelt with my friends.
No. Leo, I know you already asked a
Welcome.
question, but has this piqued your curiosity even further? This is your chance.
Yeah. Kind of speaking on the topic of social anxiety and being comfortable within a virtual space. Kind of a question towards Zenke. How do you feel that the ability to remove your physical appearance from the equation, being able to wear a different avatar, wear a different, I guess what you would say, wear a different skin. Like, how do you think that factors in to the ability to tackle that social anxiety and to tackle these mental health problems, especially in like a one-to-one, person-to-person environment?
I feel it's a double-edged sword, frankly, because it can boost your confidence short term. For example, if I feel fat or I feel ugly, I could go and get a thin and beautiful looking avatar, and I could present myself in the virtual world like this. And so short term I might be feeling good, but I'm actually sort of entangling myself in a lie as well. So long term it can probably only increase. I will fall in love with my avatar and I will keep on hating myself, maybe even more. Maybe it will make me long that I was more like my avatar over time. So I think the goal is self-acceptance, right? The goal is to be able to love oneself, because the only way to love others also is by loving ourselves for all that we are, with all our flaws and qualities. It is impossible to love another human being with all their flaws and their qualities if you cannot even accept yours, right? So if you want a very full life with good loving relationships, with good friendships, with good work relationships as well, you sort of need to master the relationship with the self first. That is my take on it. However, if to get there, you first have to wear that cute avatar, and as he says, like bicycle, and then you make over time, the avatar looks more and more like you, or the personality of the character you're playing is closer to your real life personality, and you're sort of fusing at some point, and you get to a point where you're happy with who you are in VR and you're happy with who you are in real life. Then I think it cured you, basically. But just beware of the trap, right? You don't want it to become a catalyst for self-hatred.
Yeah, speaking of, on that double-edged sword subject, just very quickly, I know of a lot of people that because of the avatars that they use, they actually, because it looks like dancing avatars and things like that, they like to do a lot of like get really active in terms of doing breakdancing and learning all that kind of stuff. And because they get a real big passion for like activities and stuff inside of the virtual space, because they were wearing that mask at first, and actually, like you said, starts fusing into that personality. These people become actually more active and start to exercise and things, and then improving their body image and their self, and that's actually very common as well. I wanted to mention.
Yes, but again, the double-edged part is that if you want to stop smoking, you have two strategies that you can do. You can replace your smoking with heroin, which is much worse, or you could start eating carrots,
Right.
which is going to be good for your health. So if you have to choose between, two end results, it's probably better to be addicted to carrots. And that's kind of what I'm saying with Avatar. If your avatar is helping you become more in touch with who you are and leading a more harmonious life and a healthier
Oh,
life, by all
speaking of
means,
carrots,
stick to it. But if the contrary is happening, run away from it. You're hurting yourself.
Well, I've got another angle, Zenko.
All right.
12 years ago, at Quebec's Order of Psychologists, we had a case. The young lady was 18 years old and suffering from autism. She decided not to talk in real life. She was not good looking at all. She did not have a nice skin, and she was small. and a little bit chubby. And 10 years ago, she created her account on Second Life, which was, and on Second Life, she chose an avatar that looked the same way she did in real life. Petite, chubby, with not a nice skin, but in Second Life, she was married, she was going to university, she had friends like you, she had a very active life. And in her real life,
And she spoke, right?
She was not talking at all. And that touched all of us as psychologists. What can we do as a society to welcome her as suffering from autism in real society? How come the Second Life Society loved her more than us in the real society? Because to help someone coming out of a ugly isolation like that, it takes love from others. And you guys seems to give more love, more opening to difference than the real society. And that's why I believe what you're doing is so great.
That's actually
That's a very good point.
an amazing story. Oh my gosh. I never realized. Yeah, I mean, it's like the ultimate equalizer.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe one
Yeah.
more question, okay? Do we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
somebody else?
Laughless, I imagine? No? Are you typing it? Are you going to type it to me? No. Just a screenshot? I don't know. Oh, on the stream. Oh, Laughless's questions on the stream. Does anyone have the stream open? Rico? Anybody that has the chat open? In
Let's
this
see
room?
here. Is Dr. Lefort familiar with VR chat and how is a gateway to overcoming social anxiety?
Oh, I think we kind of already covered that, didn't we? Well, I guess we can go over it again.
Well, this is my first time in total immersion in virtual reality, where I see you all in a nice hotel, and I'm used to treating people with remote system, where we see, well, half of their body, but to feel the full immersion with you guys like that, this is my first experience, and I'm telling you, it is close to my heart.
Hey, we can get this guy a
so
Quest 2
this
right
is
on the
known
old
as-
business expense.
I'm wearing it right now.
There you go. Ship it.
So what you're experiencing right now is known as presence in the VR world, and we feel that it makes all the difference. That this is really how we are able to sort of establish intimate relationship, even though we look like cartoons, basically, right? There is this thing that I know that there's a real person. And what is funny, I just feel like ranting a little bit, but what is funny is that you start building memories of the encounters that you have. And, like I don't have a real life image of who Alex is, but I remember interacting with Alex, and I remember him as his avatar. So imagine 10 years of that, 10 years of interacting with avatars, and then you're growing older and you're looking back on your life. And instead of thinking about your school friends that were actually people, you have 10 years worth of memories built up of avatars made up of an extraordinary world where you could fly or jump off buildings or so that's the other part that might be double-edged, is that actually healthy? I am not sure, but it does something to the brain that is very real and of which we should all be aware.
Well, I feel like I am living the Jumanji film.
Nice.
Film was my childhood.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Minus the man-eating plant. Hopefully.
True.
Who knows?
Yeah.
That piano could turn into one any moment.
Okay,
That's
well,
admirable.
you know,
Watch out.
I think I would just thank you very much, François, for being here with us today. I respect the
Thank
work you
you.
do a lot. By the way, we didn't say everything about this man. He was like the emergency psychologist for his order for a while. He stopped many suicides, helped a lot of people, and right now, you know, people are complaining because of the clinical work that he's doing. He had a guy that went to jail, and he went beyond his mandate. You know, he found a guy, a girlfriend, a car, and a job in the context of his practice, right, to help him reintegrate society. So he's that kind of guy that goes the extra mile. And one illustration of that is that he's in VR with us today. He's still up to date after a long
Thank
career. And it's a privilege, really, to know you and to have you with us today. And I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And it allowed you to process your own experience maybe a little bit differently.
Awesome.
Thank you to all of you.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
You all gonna thank you, Frank?
Thank you.
That'd be great.
Thank
Thank you.
Frank.
Thank you for being here.
Hey.
Thank you.
So, yeah, that's awesome. All right, I think that's gonna be that for today. I just want to remind everybody in here that we hold talks like this with interesting individuals every Wednesday, and we're gonna try to do it at 6 p.m. EDT every Wednesday, so it's very consistent. You join the same way. All you do is you friend or request off of XPR Labs 1, which is our dedicated account for accepting requests and allowing people in. So if you want to attend more events like this, just make sure that you're showing up at 6 p.m. Do we have the person for next week, Zen?
It will be confirmed shortly. I'm not sure which one of the two we're going to schedule for next week. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, so we got two of them. Okay, I was under the impression there was only one, but
Yeah,
apparently
but
we
we
found a
have,
secret third guy.
What I can tell you is that we have three amazing movers and shakers of the AR and VR world coming up in the next few weeks.
Oh,
So these are going to be very cool presentations to watch. Well, two movers and shakers, and a university is going to show off their mixed reality lab. So I think that's going to be quite cool. Also, I have introduced this week the JobCon Zoom tours at 12 o'clock. This is mainly aimed at people who don't have any experience of VR and just want to get a glimpse of what we're doing in here and how it works and everything. So basically, I take them in a video conference, and I walk them through, and after that, if they want, I help them connect and everything. So if you have friends that you would like to introduce, or maybe people that are a bit older and are a little bit resistant, you can tell them about this 12 o'clock tour, and I'll take good care of them. So yeah, that's why we've added that actually.
awesome. All right, thank you. And thank you guys for coming out. We're going to end it right there. You can go ahead and cut
Thank
stream.
you.
So bye-bye, stream. Bye-bye. Thank you guys for
Bye-bye.
coming out, and we'll see you next week at 6 p.m. How's that sound? Heck yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.